Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Brandon from Dream Pilot Films, and we're gonna do a unboxing video today for the Zcam E2. So the Zcam E2 is a pretty awesome camera. I've got one that I actually use to supplement as a B cam for my Canon C200. And honestly, right now I'm having a pretty hard time deciding to even keep the C200, while the Zcam it's missing a few of the nice convenience features that the C200 has, like autofocus, built-in ND filters, a few different things like that, full-size XLRs. The image quality that you get from the Zcam is just freaking awesome. And honestly, the cost savings that you get from using a camera like this compared to the C200, it's just making me wonder whether or not I actually need those convenience features. The Canon C200 shoots 4K at 60 frames a second. That's why I bought that camera. I wanted to get the autofocus, the dual pixel autofocus that Canon has, but I also needed to get a camera that could shoot at least 4K with at least 60 frames per second so that I could slow it down and make things look more beautiful and appealing on some of the weddings that I do and some other B-roll and stuff like that we shoot for documentaries. I recently came across some sort of information on this Zcam camera that said it could shoot up to 120 frames a second in 4K, and I couldn't believe it. So I did a bunch of research and found a Facebook group, joined the Facebook group, and on there is the actual CEO from the Zcam company, Kinson Liu, and he's on there constantly interacting with users and members, something that I find super awesome because as most of us know, trying to reach out to Canon proves to be a little bit difficult. Same thing with all the huge, camera companies, the big corporations. You never be able to speak with the actual CEO. Kinson is on the Facebook group every single day, commenting on posts, replying to posts. We even had a brief conversation through direct messages where I had an issue and he helped me out with that, and it was just super awesome. So the customer support that Zcam offers is by far one of the best supports that I've seen from any camera company. Anyways, back to the frame rate though. So I found Zcam, and they claim to be able to shoot 4K up to 120 frames a second. And literally the day that I heard about them, they released a firmware update that allows users to shoot up to 160 frames a second, which is just mind-blowing to me. So I'm super happy to find. I ordered one, and that's actually what I'm shooting this video on right here. This camera over here on the sliders, the C200, so you can kind of tell the difference, at least in here, and then I'll post some clips when we go outside and take a few dynamic range tests and things like that. But I went ahead and purchased one of the Zcams when I found out about it that weekend, after I researched on the Facebook group and everything and found it to be relatively trustworthy. So I ordered one and I was just blown away. The image quality is great. The high ISO noise quality is great. I took it to an event and I shot in a pretty low light situation. I was using an f2.8 lens, but I was able to push the ISO all the way up to 10, 12,000, and it was still off. It was still great, usable footage. And I'm not gonna get super into like specs and dynamic range at high ISOs and everything. There's tons of videos online where you can find that stuff, but just my personal experience, I've shot at 10,000 ISO in a low light inside of a room with an f2.8 lens, and it was awesome. Canon is it's the C200, I can get to 10,000 also, but honestly, I like the footage from the Zcam a little bit better. The Zcam E2 has a micro four thirds sensor. Coming from, I've also used Panasonic cameras, GH4s and GH5s for several years. So I'm not afraid to use micro four thirds sensor. I know a lot of people are kind of weird about it, but the cool thing about it is you can buy the speed boosters, which I have on the camera right now. The speed booster from Metabones, I have the 0.71 Ultra version, coupled with a Sigma 18 to 35 millimeter lens, and that essentially allows you to let more light in, and it also widens the field of view, which is pretty awesome. So micro four thirds sensor, but you can get super duper close. I think I don't really know the exact specs, but it's almost the same as a Super 35 sensor. If you get the XL version of the Metabones, you can even go a little bit wider than that, I believe. But anyways, it's awesome. So the Sigma 18 to 35, which is normally a 1.8 lens, with the Metabones speed booster on there, I can actually go down to 1.2, so that's pretty awesome. The Zcam website is claiming 13 to 15 stops of dynamic range with 16 stops with wide DR enabled. I haven't done too much shooting with wide DR. There was a small thing that I had to work around audio wise with wide DR when I did try it, so I'm just gonna avoid that for now until they come up with a fix. But 13 to 15 stops with regular filming is pretty awesome. I think the retail cost on this is $19.99, which is super awesome. I mean, it's the same cost as a GH5 when they were brand new, or a GH5S. The Canon C200 was around $6,000 when I bought it. So, you know, you can honestly buy 3 of these cameras for the price of that and you'll be happy. It does have a RAW, it's Z-RAW, it's a partial debayer. I don't think there's much support in any of the NLEs right now, so I haven't really messed around with it. The cool thing is that this camera is authorized, ProRes authorized and everything. You can shoot several different ProRes formats, which are super great for editing. I have a really fast computer for my edits, so I'm not afraid to try the H.265. And you can watch, Tom Antos actually has a comparison where he compares the ProRes to the H.265 codecs, and the H.265 does everything for me. I've pushed the color grade super far. I'm a pretty heavy color grader. I'm not a professional, but I like to push things to the limit, and this camera can handle a lot compared to GH5 or even the Canon C200. Cool thing about this camera is that it shoots 10-bit colors internally, something you cannot get with the Canon C200. Canon crippled the color output so that they could protect their higher lines of cinema cameras, but Zcam killed it. So I can get 10-bit 422 colors out of this thing, and that's awesome. I think on the H.265 that I'm using, I believe it's only 420 colors, but still, you can push that 10-bit super far. And then I always have the ability to go up to 422 if I need. But honestly, right now I'm just shooting H.265 everything, and it's just great. Another cool thing that I have purchased with this camera is this sync cable from Zcam, which allows me to tether 2 or multiple cameras together in a daisy chain, and they can link up perfectly. So I own Tentacle Sync E timecode generators, and honestly, with this, I'm not going to need that anymore. So I'll be able to link both these cameras up, change all the settings on everything with one click, and start and stop recordings. It's down to pixel level synchronization, they say. So excited to try that out. Anyways, let's unbox this thing and see what's inside. So I do like it. The camera company has been around, I think, since 2015 or 16. They came out with the camera that was called an E1. I'm not familiar with it. Like I said, I honestly just heard about this camera company super recently, within the last couple weeks, but I was super impressed with my first purchase, so I went ahead and bought another one. Okay, so got some quick start guides and things like that. Super nice foam packaging, professional, not chintzy or anything like that. And the camera, when you pull it out, they say it's built like a tank, and it surely is. This thing is solid metal. There's no plastic on it at all. I think the sensor cover is plastic, but everything else is awesome. Buttons I find them pretty convenient. They're all customizable, which is awesome. Right out of the gate, that comes with a menu button, an custom function button, which is preset to ISO, and then an up and down arrow, and then an OK select button. And I find it awesome. I did buy originally the Portkeys BM5 monitor, which is super popular with everybody on this because you can control the camera through the BM5 monitor, but I actually find it easier to just use the little tiny screen on top and control the camera that way. Since the menu is actually pretty user intuitive, it's super easy just to, find out, to spend a day learning the menu, and then you can get there super quick. And I actually sent the BM5 back because I found that I didn't need it. Okay, so on the front, you just have the 3 custom function buttons, a power on and off button, a CFast card slot, which is a little difficult to open. There's a couple of people that have posted reviews on this camera already that said if we can get a better CFast cover, that would be awesome. And I agree with that. It's a little bit difficult. The first couple of times I had to use my car key actually to open it, and it's just a little bit of a pain in the field. But cool that you can accept CFast cards in there. And then also even cooler I've found is that it has a USB-C port on the back, so you can actually plug an SSD right into the back. On the one that I'm filming on has a Samsung T5 in a bracket, which is actually not a recommended recommended SSD by Zcam, but I've found that it's awesome. I've had zero issues with it, and it's a 1 terabyte card you can get for like 150 bucks. We have some mounting options here, which I've also ordered a cage. I ordered a small rig cage for the Zcam, same one I have on my other one, and you mount it on there and it gives you a full cage and everything, so it's pretty great. It actually comes with an antenna because this camera has Wi-Fi that you can use to control. It's really great. I actually didn't use that. I used this. So you plug an Ethernet cable into here, run it all the way, and I used a 100-foot Ethernet cable all the way to my laptop in the back of the room at the event that I just filmed, and it worked seamlessly. It was awesome. You can preview the image, you can change all the camera settings, you can turn the camera off, you can do all kinds of stuff. And with the wall adapter to the camera, you can honestly, I left this camera on all day. I think I filmed like 14 hours one day, and it was great using that Ethernet. Another super duper cool thing with this camera is that you get to use the Sony NP style batteries, which honestly, they're super cheap. I mean, for the same, almost the same power output that you get from a V-mount battery or something, you get this little tiny one that costs literally $25 on Amazon. You can even get a 2-pack for like $25. So it's great. And you can get ones with a USB slot or a DC power slot, so you can run a cable from here to a monitor, or you got some other accessories that I used that take another USB-C or something. But so you plug USB cable in there or whatever you want, got power for your other accessories. But you plug this battery on there, the Sony NP. Let's see. Boom, and that's essentially what it looks like, and you get power for hours. It's just super cheap, super awesome. I'm super happy that Zcam went with this. Also happy that they went with the MFT mount, and they also have the EF mount for Canon lenses on the flagship models, which is just, it's just honestly, this camera company is killing it for me. On the other side, got a headphone jack and a 3.5 millimeter microphone jack. One of the main drawbacks that I've found with this camera is that it's got the LEMO like 5-pin XLR cable. So you need to get an adapter like this, which costs another 50 bucks or so. And also when you plug this in, well, so you plug this in, these camera cables are super heavy, and it just doesn't leave me very confident in the ability to keep this LEMO input on there. So I bought this and I did use it, but I'm honestly considering just using a 3.5 millimeter microphone on top of the camera and then just sync via either sync cable or audio, because yeah, getting the XLRs on here is just kind of a pain. That's one of the drawbacks to that. The other drawback is that it doesn't have built-in ND filters, but Zcam just released a module that you can, I believe you unscrew something on here, or maybe it just mounts like a mount adapter or something, but it goes in between the lens and the sensor, and you get to change ND filters. And everybody's been talking how awesome they are. I just haven't bought one because I have variable ND filters and it works fine for me. But pretty cool. Other thing on here is a COM port that you can buy an adapter for time code. It also has the DC power adapter, so you can plug it right into the wall. So in the accessories box, you have wall adapters for PAL countries and different in the UK. We've got the it's another LEMO connection for the power adapter in here to a DTAP cable, which is kind of funky. It's awesome if you have D-tap batteries or V-mount gold lock batteries, but the way that I've been using it is plug this straight into the wall, plug this right into here, and then plug this into your other power cable, and it gives you a pretty long wall extension, so you can be pretty far away. It's probably something like 8 or 10 feet, something like that, which has been helpful. Also comes with a standard Wi-Fi antenna, which you definitely need. I've tried to connect to Wi-Fi without it, and it doesn't work very well. You can connect if you're like this far away, like 3 feet away from the camera, but across the room, there's no way. Plug this in, definitely get it. So, okay, and I think that's all that comes in the box. Another couple of cool things that this camera offers are the ability to live stream because it has the Ethernet ports. You can connect it right to your computer, and Zcam offers some software that allows you to stream whatever you're filming. So it's, I mean, you're getting amazing streaming quality from these cameras. Not to mention the cinema applications for this, the narratives, the documentaries, the short films, everything like that. The camera quality that you get in this little tiny, I've told people before, it's basically the size of 2 GoPros or 4 GoPros, and it is just freaking amazing. This camera is a game changer for me, and I'm looking forward to buying another one pretty soon. I think I'm gonna stick with the 2 Zcam E2s as my B cameras. Canon C200 is going to stay the A camera for now because it has the dual pixel autofocus, one thing that this camera does not have. It does have probably like a phase or contrast, some kind of it does have autofocus on it, but it's almost unusable. It's even worse than, actually it's probably about the same as the GH5. So if you're familiar with that autofocus, you'll just be leaving it on manual focus. There is some sort of autofocus module that they're working on. If you head over to the Zcam Facebook group, you'll find some information on there, but not too much actual specs or release dates or anything like that. So if they do get it, it should be super awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. In fact, I'm kind of hanging on to my Canon C200 basically at this point just for the autofocus. As soon as Zcam can figure out an option to give us you know, I think it has a Sony sensor in it and some Sony electronics. So if they can get that eye autofocus, or at least an autofocus that works pretty well, then I'm basically ready to get rid of my C200 and buy one of the F6 or one of the S6s or something like that for the 8 cam. But for now, I'm super happy with Zcam, and I hope that you guys go check them out, research everything you can, join that Facebook group, and let's let this company thrive because they're doing the users a really good favor. All right, so this was my first attempt at doing an unboxing type video. I don't know how I did, but if I mess it up, let me know in the comments. If there's something I could do better, let me know. If you liked it, subscribe because I'm gonna do a couple more and see what happens. But anyways, take it easy from one filmmaker to another. Peace out.